Welcome to the Future Proof Leader podcast. I'm Jessica Rapach. Welcome to the show. Today I'm honored to welcome Alison Godfrey. She is the founder of AAG Concierge Executive Coaching. So, welcome, Alison. Thanks for being on
Thank
the
you.
show.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, Jessica.
Amazing. I can't wait to hear all your things. But I would like to open it up by just you telling the audience a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Thank you. Absolutely. This stage of my career, I am an executive coach. The concierge part is that I like to work with somebody for at least a year. And you can, as many coaching sessions as somebody wants during that period. That way I can really get close to the executive, what's going on, leadership, building that senior presence in the C-suite, that kind of thing. And what makes me qualified to do that is that I came out of corporate. I'm an entrepreneur and I've been a CEO and I did a startup for Bill Gates and here I am coaching.
That's amazing. I'm going to ask you more about what you just said. So, before we started filming, you said that you were a Jersey girl. You went to Texas and you mentioned Bill Gates, and I'm so curious. So, can you tell us a little bit more about that experience? Because I'm sure we all are dying to know.
Okay. I was running a research laboratory that I had founded with a partner in it was the largest private laboratory in condensed matter nuclear physics. Don't we love those words? It
That
makes it so sexy, right?
it's so nice.
Yes, so good. And we had a partnership with the Italian Nuclear Energy Commission. ENEA is what it's called. And we were asked to do a private demonstration of what was going on for Bill Gates. That's how that introduction occurred. And it was secure and a safe place for him to be, better than our laboratory in Israel. Okay, great. Fast forward, sell that business, Jersey girl. What do? I moved to Florida. Oh yeah, that was fun. And within about a year, I got a call. Would I be willing to do the startup for Bill in Lubbock, Texas, which I had never heard of? And I when I moved here, I didn't even unpack because I wasn't
You're like not buying it. You're like, no, Jersey girl, got it.
Jersey girl, this does not work.
Yeah.
However, it was so much fun. And he donated 25 million to the University of Texas Tech. So that was our public front. And we were a stealth laboratory, which also
Ooh.
is, with your background, that's fun stuff. And nobody knew who we were, what we were doing. We were on an abandoned Air Force base that had become a business center. So really beautiful. And we took over one of the buildings, the fix the parachute building. There's probably a name for that. And
Marine
I don't
Corps, no idea. Yeah.
know. It had a cool tower, and we made it into one of the top research laboratories in the world. Brought in researchers from all over because who doesn't want to do research under those conditions? And with Bill Gates, and he's so into finding clean energy. That's what it is, clean energy, and really trying to change the world. And it was an extraordinary period of time. And during that period, I wanted to be a better leader. You can imagine the first time walking into his conference room and the windows and the view and the power and his office is right there and totally overwhelmed. And I've got a seat at this table. How'd that happen? It just takes your breath away. And it also makes you very real and authentic that, okay, I'm just me and let's go. Let's make this happen. So that was that story. And I went to Berkeley to become a better leader because I wanted to up the ante of leading edge leadership. What does that look like? And got the certificate of business excellence. And one of the courses was high impact leadership. Yay.
Yeah.
Sounds great. That was taught by the Executive Coaching Institute.
Amazing.
And there we go. I became an executive coach to be a better CEO, not to be a coach, but leader as coach. And it was the best choice I've ever made.
Oh my
And thank
God.
you, Bill.
I was just gonna say, well, so many things. Well, so I resonate with you a little bit because I'm the wife of a nuclear physicist. Who knew? I didn't even know. I didn't know that about you, Allison. Oh, how can I diverge? Okay. I'm going to have a list of questions for you. I'm sure you have way more knowledge. I love your humble presence, like, just working for Bill Gates. No big deal. Went to Berkeley. You've had quite the accomplishments. So thank you for being on the podcast again. My first question to you is you work with founders and CEOs. They're making high stakes decisions, right? What actually changes about decision making when you're operating at that high stakes level?
What happens is an extraordinary internal force of presence and cutting out the noise is really important. And what noise translates to is emotion. And so reactivity is emotional. You cannot make a decision from that point in your body chemically. You're a nut. You know what it feels like. And everything goes crazy
Mhm.
and you're on the edge and it's all happening at once and your brain is scrambled. No, that is not a good time to make a decision. It also is very important. We work a lot on self-regulation.
Oh, that's important.
It's really important. And people in power, no, not gender specific, also the brain tends to work a little faster than other people's brains. And that's how they got to where they are. So sitting in a meeting where people aren't getting what you're saying can be very frustrating. And then, and then the self-regulation, and
I would imagine, yes.
it becomes pretty harsh. And then all the trust, when is this person going to me? It all blows up in one little boom. And once you that break of trust even a little bit, it can take somebody's in the trust doghouse and would be the leader, and it can take a long time to get out. And so we work on being responsive, calming down.
Oh, you're talking about disciplined thinking. Okay. So what does that
Yes.
look like in practice for a CEO?
Okay. In practice, what that looks like is you actually have a choice, and this blows people's minds, it blew mine, of who you want to be. I'm authentic. This is who I am. Girl, I was a beast. And I had to choose that I wanted to behave differently. I wasn't changing my values. I wasn't changing who I am and what's important to me. What I was changing was my style because it was really not who I wanted to be. And that's what the Coaching Institute really was in my face of, wow, you could be kind. Who knew?
They're there to get things done. Like they don't have time to be nice,
Exactly. I don't have time for that stuff.
right?
No, I'm not going to chit chat in the beginning of a meeting. Oh, yeah, you are, because it is based on relationship, everything we do. And when you're laughing and you're like this together, we can go do it, whatever you want to get done. Yeah, we'll tackle it. It's fine. We're a team.
I
I've
love
got
that.
this. And without that human connection, if you are separate as a leader, there is no way people are going to say, yeah, I want to follow you. I'll do what you say, but there's no relationship.
Now, I can imagine that when you tell a CEO this, like you're going to change your style of leadership or you have to have a different approach, that doesn't go over so well. So, how does that transition work? Is it, and this is just a curiosity, is it a peer review situation where you get the input of how the culture is among his other staff? Or do you come in, assess in meetings? Like, how do you determine that the style needs to change and how do you get them to kind of edge to make that the aha moment like, oh, this is the why and this is what happened? Like, how does that happen?
Perfect, exactly right. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And instead of a 60, I do it, I call it, because of Berkeley, a leadership assessment.
Mhm.
So I personally interview all the people, including the board around these. I go to the board.
Yes.
If they're the CEO, even at C-suite, I still go to the board,
Okay.
each other, and then the first team below them. And then I will have them pick, I'll have first people below them. So I get some skip level
Oh, that's smart.
feedback also. How deep is the influence in the organization? And because I'm doing the entire C-suite, that gives me cross-functional attitudes of what it's like working with this person and their direct reports. It's a lot of time to interview these people, but boy, do you find out what's going on. And talk about I record all the interviews. I get the transcript. They all into AI. And then I start giving it questions. What are the direct reports saying? What's the C-suite saying? What are the commonalities? Give me quotes. How are they relating to each other? What are the trends? What's common? Blah blah.
Oh, I love
And
it.
yeah, it's great. And Matt, and of course I've taught it who I am, so it gives me back all these reports as I would say it, and I edit it and put it all together. And then I give it to the CEO, we'll start with the CEO. And then they get to have time alone, not in front of me, to digest it
Oh, I love that.
and really read it. They know that we're going to sit down and we're going to go over this piece by piece and what's really happening. And is the question ultimately is who do you want to be? When you leave a room, what do you want people to say about you? Is this it? Is this who you are? Is this what you want for showing up in the world? Is this your deathbed? He was
Yeah.
a beast. It wasn't my ideal. So then
Right.
we then we start creating what does it look like? And that's how you start making the behavioral change.
So that's like a very statistical response to how they're perceived in their workspace. And have you noticed, like, is there politics involved here? Because I know when I work for companies that hire management, you find out that so and so said this and so and so said that there's some politics in those decisions. Do you keep it anonymous, or how do you make sure you're getting true, trusted responses that will actually, encourage
Yeah,
change?
great question. There's total anonymity. I might put in some quotes, but I don't say who said it. And I also make sure that they're short enough that you can identify the quality of speech sometimes of who would say something. So I make sure that it's scrubbed,
I love
that
that.
you wouldn't know who said what. And that way, also, I am doing this to make this person a better leader. I need that input. I need to know the impact of the style and what's happening. And then I have a very brave CIO in a very large corporation. And he sat down then with me and first team and told them exactly what the results were.
Wow.
Really vulnerable
I
move.
love that. Humility is such a big piece about being a good leader, an effective
Mm,
leader. Humility, you have to have it in life. I mean, in life, you have to. It's
you
hard though.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's critical. Don't get all full of yourself, right? And
Right.
you
Yeah.
you have to be present to the other person.
No, I love that.
Oh, it was beautiful. It was just beautiful. Shock because all he did was tell them all the things that needed upgrading.
Oh, nice.
I said, wait a minute, what about all the things that you do right? You got, and he goes, oh, I'm not going to do that part. All right, I'll do it.
Right.
And then we set a plan and reorganized first team so that the behaviors would change and who was responsible for what pieces of that behavior and what would the new behavior look like. And instead of everybody running to him as the leader, it was talk to each other and you're a team. And if you want to speak with me and there are other stakeholders, do not come into my office without the other stakeholders.
I love that.
Isn't that great?
That's great. I think that's very productive and efficient. That's
Yeah.
what I'm all about. I love that. So here's something I've seen in my workspaces. I've seen, I mean, we can do this, we can say this about any leader, right? The president, whatever. You have certain leaders that do really, really well under direct leadership. This is what I want, this is how I want it done, do it. Go off and conquer. Then you have leaders that are more successful when they say they have a leader that's more of an empowerment leader. Hey, listen, Allison, I want this mission complete. I don't care how you do it. This is your end goal. Go be inspired and give me your solutions. I've seen both leaders. So, what do you do as a high stakes CEO when you have a mix of, I guess, managers and leaders in your organization? How do you accommodate all that? That's
And
like how?
It's really interesting. So that's personal communication and what you expect and want. So I use a tool from Edgewalkers, an organization that is about analyzing. They've got an assessment, and the assessments come back and tell you how what is most commonly going to be your response. Where are you going to lean into? And how are you going to react to change? And what I do with those is I sit down with each person. Do you understand? Does this make sense to you? Is this really how you respond? And what do you really lean into? There's skills. And then we sit down as a group with the leader. Now, we all have to work together. You know, this person, if you start talking about change, is immediately going to go into a guardian stance. Do you know the risks of what you're talking about? Now, an edge walker is all about, oh, let's go, new idea, we're going over here. How exciting. And if a guardian is there, it's going to sound like somebody that's so negative, you would
Mm,
never want to work with them. They,
yeah,
and meanwhile, what they're doing is you from going off the edge,
right.
right?
Edge walker.
Yeah, there you go.
Got it. Okay.
And the edge walker wants to build a bridge to the future, but they can go too fast. They can think too fast. They're not bringing people with them. There's no alignment. You need all of it
Yeah.
to go forward. Then if the leader is saying, I am going to tell you what to do, and that is my style, and I am not changing, then the team has a choice. Is this okay or is this not okay?
Sure.
Very often what you find is the leader starts to try to empower people.
Which is productive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you've got to be in some people's face. You have to
Yeah.
be, this is reality.
Yeah, I mean, if you're 80% of the time empowering, uplifting, encouraging, not only are you kind of like we talk about the high stress situations, not only are you kind of offloading that to your team, but you're also opening in a whole different space of possibility that you didn't have before. I mean, some of the solutions I thought I had in my time, my Marines, my employees, they come up with something that's way more brilliant than what I had in mind, and I would have missed an opportunity, you know?
Right.
And we talk about, it's funny because when I get coaches on here, we talk about this a lot when somebody has buy-in to solutions stuff. It's just like remarkable how committed and passionate they are about the outcome. And
Yes.
that's important. Now, we talked about developing the executive to have, the style that's, most, connecting with their employees, what's going to be their outlook on their company. Now, you build the trust, you build the relationships, but now you have to have some hard conversations. So, how do leaders handle the difficulty of those difficult conversations without damaging the trust and relationships that they've built? That's a
Right.
hard one. People ask that all the time.
My approach to this is that you can take it as a hard conversation. You're delivering very difficult news, or we're going to pretend this is an early conversation for a problem that how you start.
Okay.
And so the starting point is I've noticed that this behavior is on. I think the problem is that people wait until it's really a big problem. And as soon as you see it, that's when you go in and you go, ooh, what's happening here? And you partner on whatever the issue is, accountability, being on time, whatever is happening with the person, and go into that compassionate, not empathetic conversation. I'm not going to feel what you feel. I understand you feel that way. Now, let's set a goal. Is this the goal we want? And what are you going to show me that you're committed to it? What is the behavior? So that's an early conversation. If it continues, the conversation just gets tougher. And what are you not getting about accountability? Is there a problem here? You can't do it. Do you need to be in a different job? All those kinds of things until it works and you grow the person because that's the goal. Let's grow you. You need to be doing these kinds of things and challenging them. Let's go. That's all positive.
And it's unfortunate because I mean, you've been around, you've ran companies. It's always usually the latter where it's, avoidance, 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 and now we have a problem. Well, now you have to
Right.
backpedal. Well, then how do you do that? Well, you haven't said anything for the whole year. I've been doing it the same way.
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
giving you the benefit of the doubt, but it's a hard conversation we don't want to have, conversations, but what is the consequence of not having those conversations?
Right, exactly. Also, if you turn it around, and the purpose of this conversation is because my leadership, my management is about other people. So of course I'm going to have the conversation early. Let's not dig a hole here. Let's
Right.
figure this out. This is the impact of, is that your intention? Those things match. And very often the person isn't even realizing the impact of their behavior. And if you do it early, it's so much easier for everybody to get a handle on it. Do it as a growth opportunity, get set in your growth plan. Let's add it and
Yeah.
go.
And I like that mindset when no one likes to feel attacked, right? So you could be a leader in your organization thinking you're doing the right thing. Like you said, it's all about intention. You get in front of your CEO and they're like, I don't really love these patterns. Let's talk about it. How we can grow from here. What's your intention? And like you said, there's often just a disconnect or a misunderstanding
Mm-hmm.
in alignment, and you go from there. So I
Right.
do love that approach because I've seen some nasty conversations. I've been in the room with some nasty conversations, and I wish more CEOs would take the time to get coached through how to mitigate those situations. And I think
Yes.
the answer is exactly what you said, early conversation. Um,
Right.
to
As
do it.
soon as you see it. And when somebody says this has been going on for 6 months, oh, so you like the behavior?
Yeah,
It's
like
okay.
why? Well, I don't know what
Right.
to do about it. Usually the answer is I don't really know what to do about it. I mean, I don't want them to get mad. I don't want to be upsetting anybody. They do their work or they do a good job, but I can't find anybody else to do the job. All those are
Right. All the excuses.
all the excuses. Well, question's gonna lean in a little to AI. I know you talked about AI, how efficient it makes you with your reporting and it saves you probably a lot of time. From this CEO executive level perspective, we're getting a lot of mixed feedback on how companies are handling AI right now. It's either they're not touching it, which is starting to actually starting to trickle out. People are now understanding we have to do something with it because it's here. But are you seeing the time being spent at the executive level for SOPs, ethics reviews, policies, procedures about how AI will be handled inside an organization? Are they embracing it or are they still kind of resistant?
What I'm seeing is the edge walker kind of corporation where that's the thought process. They are embracing it and setting up AI teams. I have one company in Canada
Right.
that shut down everything they put a skeleton crew on what they are providing to their customers so that they could spend 3 months with the entire everyone else on the engineering team doing nothing but AI.
Wow.
What are we doing coding manually that should be AI? And the whole team is on it. And it's not, nobody's going to be, no reduction in force
No.
because now we're going to elevate the engineers and you're going to be doing even more and you're going to be on the leading edge of discovery. Such guts.
I love to hear that because I haven't that much embrace. I've heard, well, we're definitely playing with the tools. We're definitely forming a team to kind of do an assessment of where we can do it. The full engagement I haven't heard yet, so that's exciting, refreshing, like to hear as well. But I think the retention part, I think a lot of people aren't going all in because they think it's a human replacement, right? So we're very big about not replacing humans with AI, like very
Right,
big. That will lead to a lot bigger issues down the road, retention of your actual high talent, redirecting, resourcing, reevaluating where your people can be instead of,
right.
Linda doing all the email correspondence. She has a background in tech. Why don't you switch her to this team and get her more involved over here? She probably has really creative ideas. So shifting and
Yes,
resourcing is what, we try to talk about in the podcast, but
yes.
I love that enhancement of the engineer team. That's cool.
Oh, it's amazing. And have you ever asked AI what's the difference between a human and AI?
I don't know if I have. No, I'm going to now.
Right. I'm not going to give you the answer. I want everybody to
Okay.
go try that.
Okay.
And AI will give you a huge distinction between the two. And the minute you see what is human, it's, oh yeah, that's what I want to do. That's where I want to be in the organization.
That's
That's
great.
what I want to add. And of course, I want to offload this other stuff. I don't want to do that.
Yeah. I mean, we're in an age where if you're doing any monotonous tasks, you're wrong. Like you just haven't jumped on the thing. You're losing time, and time is money to any organization. So that, yes, work process, like workflows, process improvement, be embedded in any of that and should
Yes.
be at least. I understand the hesitation. I talk, financial industries, different kind of industries that have more sensitive information. I understand
Yes.
the reluctance to kind of go hard charging into AI, embedding that. But it's nice to hear that some companies are really going full force. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
It's really amazing. I'm working with the CTO of a credit union.
So you,
Everything you're
okay.
talking about,
Okay,
and
cool.
so tight walls, like nuclear. This is what you must do, and that's it. And they are doing everything within those constraints with AI that they possibly can. I mean, just think about old ways of the finances on paper, balancing your checkbook. I bet
Right.
there's a whole generation that doesn't even know what that is.
Oh, I can guarantee you yes, I can confirm that. Yes, that's cool. Okay, so I like to be like leaving our audience on a philosophical ending. So, if you're a high-level executive and you have not invested in any kind of coaching, and you can give one piece of advice of what they should be considering in their careers right now, besides hiring an executive coach, obviously, what would you tell them?
That you are you must understand you're alone and that you do not have these deeply personal conversations in work. That's not the place. You're close with your C-suite, do not have these conversations there. You can network. There are all kinds of wonderful organizations for C-suite executives and for leaders. Speak to somebody that has nothing to do with your business because that's the point of view you need.
I love that. I was not expecting you to say that, and that's brilliant. I like it.
Thank you.
I love it. So, Alison, where can people find you? Where can these executives find you when they realize you worked with Bill Gates and they need you in their office?
Well, LinkedIn is the best place to find me, and I will answer your note and we can talk. Just tell me what's going on, and we can talk about it. And I love meeting people, and please connect with me there. And my email address is in my LinkedIn contacts.
Perfect.
So I'm not hiding.
I love it. And we'll put it below in the subscription down here, explanation, more or less. But Allison, thank you so much for being on the show. I learned a ton and I loved having a conversation with you. You're really
Thank
super
you.
fun. So thank you. And to our audience, thanks again for tuning in to the Future Proof Leader, and we will see you next time.